It all started on an unassuming Saturday afternoon. My husband Jason and I were sitting in our living room, enjoying the quiet of the weekend. It was one of those rare moments where neither of us had much going on. No work, no obligations. Just a calm, peaceful day. Or at least that's what I thought. "Hey babe, there's something I've been thinking about for a while," Jason said, his tone too casual for what he was about to drop on me. I looked up from my book, curious, but unaware of the storm brewing in his mind. "What is it?" He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, running his hand through his hair, a sure sign that whatever he was about to say was making him nervous. "Well, I've been having these thoughts. Fantasies, really." I felt a slight tightening in my chest. "Fantasies." He nodded, eyes avoiding mine. "Yeah, and I was thinking maybe we could try something different." "Different how?" I asked, my curiosity now laced with caution. He sighed, then blurted it out. "What if we invited other men into the bedroom?" My heart skipped a beat and I stared at him, unsure if I had heard correctly. "Other men," I repeated, my voice shaky. "Not just any men," Jason continued quickly, as if trying to explain away the shock he knew I was feeling. "I've been thinking specifically about, 3 black guys. I just think it could be something exciting for us to experience together." I sat there stunned, processing the words. Of all the fantasies he could have suggested, this was not what I expected. Jason had always been the conservative, traditional type. We've been married for 10 years, and in all that time he'd never mentioned anything remotely like this. "Are you serious?" I asked, my voice finally finding some strength completely. He said, leaning forward, his eyes pleading with me to understand. "I know it sounds crazy, but I think it could bring us closer. It's not like I'm asking you to do this alone. I'd be there watching, guiding things. You know how much I love you, right? This wouldn't change anything between us." My mind was spinning. I didn't know what to say. On the one hand, the very idea of it was preposterous. On the other hand, the way he was looking at me, as if he was offering me something special, made me feel conflicted. "I don't know, Jason," I said, shaking my head. "This is a lot to process, I get that." He said quickly, "Take your time. I just want you to think about it, okay? I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't think it could be amazing for us." He got up, leaving me alone with my thoughts. And I sat there wondering how my world had shifted so dramatically. In a matter of minutes. For the rest of the day, I couldn't stop thinking about what he'd said. My mind kept bouncing between disbelief and curiosity. Why would Jason want something like this? And more importantly, why was I even considering it? Part of me was angry. Angry that he had the audacity to suggest something so out of the blue. Something that could potentially harm our marriage. But another part of me, a quieter, more curious part, wondered what it would be like. The next few days were a blur. I went through the motions of my routine work errands, social gatherings, all while carrying the strange secret in the back of my mind. Jason didn't bring it up again, which only made things worse. It was like this invisible elephant in the room, growing larger with each passing day. Finally, one evening after dinner, I broke the silence. "I've been thinking about what you said." Jason looked at me, his expression cautiously hopeful. "And I still don't understand why you want this." I admitted, but I'm willing to at least talk about it. "What exactly did you have in mind?" Jason's eyes lit up. He hadn't expected me to agree to even discuss it further. "Well, I thought maybe we could start by meeting them. Nothing has to happen right away. Just see how you feel around them. If it's too much, we can stop." I felt a knot form in my stomach. Meeting them, 3 men. handpicked by my husband to potentially share an experience I never thought I'd be considering. But there was no backing out now. Not after I'd opened this door. "All right," I said. Swallowing hard, we'll meet them. The day of the meeting arrived faster than I anticipated. My nerves were on edge, and I hadn't been able to sleep the night before. Jason, on the other hand, seemed strangely calm, as if this was just another ordinary day. I couldn't understand how he could be so relaxed about something that felt so monumental. To me, we agreed to meet the man at a small lounge downtown, a neutral place, where we could have a few drinks and get to know each other, without any pressure. Jason had arranged everything, and I had no idea what to expect. As we walked into the lounge, I scanned the room nervously, unsure of how I would even recognize them. But Jason seemed to know exactly where to go. He led me toward a table in the corner, where 3 men were already seated, talking quietly among themselves. When they saw us approaching, they stood up and I felt my stomach drop. The men were tall, fit, and carried themselves with an easy confidence. Jason introduced me to each of them, Marcus, Jamal, and Darius. They greeted me politely, with smiles that felt genuine and non-threatening, which helped ease my nerves just a little. Still, the reality of what we were doing began to settle in, and I could feel my hands trembling slightly. "Nice to meet you," I managed to say, forcing a smile as we all sat down. The conversation started off innocently enough. We talked about where we were from, what we did for work hobbies, and other small talk that seemed almost too normal for the situation. I found myself getting more comfortable, though the tension between us was still palpable. Every now and then I would catch one of the men glancing at me, and my mind would flash back to Jason's proposition. It was strange sitting there with my husband and these 3 men, knowing what might come next if we chose to go down that road. Jason, as always, was the one steering the conversation. He asked the guys about their interests, how they felt about relationships, and slowly the topic began to drift toward the very thing we were all thinking about, but not saying out loud. So Jason said after a while, "I'm sure you all know why we're here." There it was, the moment I've been dreading. The men nodded, their expressions becoming more serious. "Yeah, we talked about it," Marcus said. He was the oldest of the 3 with a deep voice and a calm demeanor. "We're all cool with whatever happens, but we respect that this is your call," he added, looking at me. I glanced at Jason, who gave me a reassuring nod. This was his idea, but ultimately, I knew he was leaving the decision up to me. The pressure was overwhelming. I didn't know how to react. Part of me wanted to get up and walk out to end this before it went any further. But there was another part of me, a part I hadn't been fully honest with myself about, that was intrigued. I don't know what to say. I finally admitted, feeling the weight of everyone's eyes on me. "You don't have to decide anything right now," Jamal chimed in. "We're just here to get to know each other. See if there's a vibe, no pressure." His words were comforting, but I could still feel the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just a casual night out. There was a possibility, a choice hanging in the air, and I knew that the decision I made tonight could change my relationship with Jason forever. As the evening progressed, the drinks flowed a little more freely, and the tension began to ease. I found myself laughing at Marcus's stories, nodding along with Jamal's insights on travel, and enjoying Darius's sense of humor. For a while, it felt like we were just a group of people having a good time. But underneath it all, the unspoken agreement lingered. The more comfortable I became, the more I realized Jason was watching me closely, gauging my reactions, seeing if I was warming up to the idea he had proposed. After a few hours, Marcus suggested we move the party back to their place. My heart raced. This was the moment of truth. Jason leaned in and whispered, "We don't have to go if you don't want to." I hesitated, feeling the weight of his words. My head was spinning, both from the alcohol and the conflicting emotions inside me. I knew that if we left with them, it would be a point of no return, and I wasn't sure I was ready for that. "Let's just go see where the night takes us," I finally said, surprising even myself with the calmness in my voice. Jason smiled, and before I could second-guess my decision, we were heading out the door, the cool night air hitting my face as we made our way to the car. I could feel Jason's excitement growing, but I was still full of doubt. What if this was a mistake? What if this changed everything? As we drove in silence toward Marcus's place, I couldn't help but wonder how far I was really willing to go. The drive to Marcus's place felt longer than it actually was. My heart pounded as I sat in the passenger seat staring out the window, watching the city lights blur by. Jason was quiet, though I could sense the tension in his grip on the steering wheel. Neither of us said a word, but the unspoken anticipation was thick in the air. When we arrived at Marcus, Jamal and Darius were already waiting outside their apartment building. It was a modern high-rise, with sleek glass windows that reflected the streetlights below. They greeted us warmly, and despite the growing anxiety inside me, I felt a strange sense of ease being around them again. "Welcome," Marcus said with a smile, opening the door for us as we stepped into the building.